It's taking a second. It's loading. Yes, we are on. So, dear Vaishnavis, is it echoing for you all too? Or is it okay? Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Now it's okay, Mataji. Now it's okay. Hare Krishna.
Dear Vaishnavis, we are all very blessed to have Kamalini Mataji with us. She's such a senior Srila Prabhupada's disciple. She has numbers of years of experience and an excellent devotee that we are blessed to have our association today. So please welcome her on board for the book reading club with our Vaishnava style. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Dear Kamalini Prabhu, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's a rather short reading, isn't it? So you don't usually sing, do you? We just go
We
right
just say
into
Prabhupada Pranati and we go straight in.
Okay, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Charane Om Adasya Gyanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unalitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And this is very interesting that you're reading like the more I'd say neglected and obscure books, the books that when they first came out, the Path of Perfection, mine is very old, but it was a mass distribution. A mass distribution book. Oh, it's echoing. Do you hear echo? Oh, it
I
stopped.
do.
Okay. Is it echoing for you as well?
Now it's okay.
Okay. All right. So, but then, I know personally, I read, of course, all of the little books, and as I was becoming a devotee, I was reading them. But now they've been neglected. It's totally echoing for me. Is it echoing for you? Like everything I say, it's repeated.
Not for us. Once in a while it's coming in, but it's going off, fading off. Maybe if
That's unusual. Okay. So I guess I should just ignore it or what? Because everything I say is being repeated. All right. So, and not right away, like there's a lag. All right. Well, this at noon today, Eastern time, I heard Nanda reading. And so I was there for most of it for her introduction to the book. All right, so I don't know what to do because it's echoing like
maybe it could be an
it's
internet issue.
repeating, not just the echo. Is it okay if I leave and come right back in?
Sure, Mataji.
I'll try that.
Yes, please.
Oh wait, did it stop? Oh, it looks like it stopped. Sorry. Hold my breath. It looks like it stopped. Sorry. It didn't. Hold my breath. It didn't stop. Oh boy. Technical. It's so. I've left the meeting right now.
I'm gonna make some apple cider vinegar with fresh ginger.
So she's logged in twice, Hemanga Mataji.
Let's see if I can come back in. Huh. All right, I see that all right. I'm still here. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, Prabhu.
All right, so sorry. All right, so we're going to begin. Now it's stopped. We're going to begin from the introduction. So the introduction, it's a 2.5 page introduction, and this is written by the publishers because this book we see after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, many of his books were they're actually lectures and they were transcribed into books. So this is one of them. So this was not printed until 1979. So 2 years or a year and a half after Srila Prabhupada left this world. And so it's we'll see like where it's coming from. It's a series of talks and that are based on the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll begin. When we see a book with a title like The Path of Perfection, we may react with a bit of common skepticism. Oh, another book claiming to give all the answers. Was there anybody here that was on the noon call today?
Just myself and I guess
Oh,
maybe Rukmini
all
Priya.
right. So I
Yeah.
guess some of it will be repeated. All right,
No,
one
no,
more,
please. Yeah, yeah.
one
These
more,
are all
do it,
new set of Vaishnavis, so
one
you
more
could go there.
do-it-yourself enlightenment scheme. Oh, certainly it seems that such skepticism is justified nowadays. Our natural desire for ultimate meaning, happiness, enlightenment, liberation, and salvation has become the most exploited commodity of the 20th century, creating what one contemporary theologian termed a disastrous seduction of the spirit. This seduction is indeed the most tragic kind of exploitation, and the unfortunate consequence of this exploitation is a kind of deadening cynicism that discourages our search for self fulfillment and a means to attain it. And so this afternoon, we were talking, Nanda was asking, okay, what does this mean? Seduction of the spirit. So we know, of course, seduction often is referred to sexual seduction, but here's seduction of the spirit. And I gave the example of social media, how it seduces our spirit. Like often we go on the internet with good intentions, looking for some Krishna conscious content. And then before you know it, we're seeing all kinds of advertisements, all kinds of different posts. They call it bait. What do they call it? Clickbait. That you just giving you bait like to click it and read more about it. And especially, those who are interested in spiritual life and finding out more, like even say like Eastern thought, Eastern philosophy, then there's all kinds of so-called gurus giving advice and giving different kinds of recommendations for all kinds of methodologies, recommendations for different products for health, for mental health, for physical health, and so one can become so confused and distracted from the goal. So we find that wow, we're so fortunate that we have the Bhaktivedanta purports to all of Srila Prabhupada's books so that we can stay focused on what is the absolute truth. What is reality distinguished from illusion? how is it that we can actually advance? Because here our desire, it says natural desire for ultimate meaning, happiness, enlightenment, liberation, and salvation has become the most exploited commodity of the 20th century. So, in other words, that's what people are looking for. We're all looking for that. Naturally, the soul is Satchidananda. So the soul is searching for that. And whatever is promising that, through these clever advertisements. And now with AI, which I have never learned anything in AI except, Google search. But now you don't even know what's true anymore, like even what's real, because so much is just created with and they're not even real people, and they're not even real content. So now it's especially easy these days to be exploited and to be confused. So I'll go on to the second paragraph. The contemporary thoughtful reader, weary of the many speculative, simplistic books cluttering the bookstore shelves, offering instant formulas for psychological or spiritual salvation, will find the path of perfection a welcome relief. Herein, one will find a clear, intriguing explanation of the philosophy and practice of mankind's oldest system of spiritual development, yoga. Now, the word yoga may conjure up an image of some skinny fakir contorted like a human pretzel, or perhaps a room full of cop, of corpulent matrons in black leotards struggling to stand on their heads in hope of improving their health, losing weight, or increasing their sexual powers. This is not what we mean by yoga. Here we are referring to an ancient philosophy and meditational system that has been practiced by millions throughout the ages. What has in modern times been reduced to a commercially exploited technique of bodily agility and pseudo meditation was once a comprehensive and easily applied form of self realization. And we see that that is rampant. That is the common knowledge, like what yoga is. And now we see even in the Krishna consciousness movement that we have much of our even bhakti yoga is presented in this way, more like a kind of yoga, and more like, again, for achieving peacefulness and achieving physical health and and being in shape, like not emphasizing the real meaning of yoga and the Hare Krishna mantra. Of course, I know anyone teaching yoga, that's their goal. Devotees want to introduce so that one will then be like receptive to hearing about the Maha Mantra and hearing about what real yoga is. And now this is I really like this next paragraph because it tells like how this book came about. So, The Path of Perfection consists of a historic series of talks, elaborations on a previously published commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, born 1896 and living till 1977. This was on India's greatest spiritual classic, the Bhagavad Gita. In these absorbing talks, Srila Prabhupada explores deeply the philosophy of yoga as explained in the sixth and eighth chapters of the Gita, showing clearly how these timeless teachings apply to 20th century mankind. Srila Prabhupada's talks probe questions concerning the nature of consciousness, techniques of meditation, karma, death, reincarnation, and even spiritual ecstasy. The Bhagavad Gita, described by one contemporary psychologist as, quote, a remarkable psychotherapeutic session, appears to us in the form of an extraordinary dialogue between Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his warrior disciple Arjuna. Perplexed and confused about his identity and purpose, Arjuna turns to Krishna, who reveals, quote, the path of perfection to his able student. The essence of Lord Krishna's teachings is that one must become a yogi, that is, one whose life is centered on the practice of yoga. And what is yoga? The Sanskrit word yoga literally means union and refers to the union in love between the individual consciousness and the supreme consciousness, the self and the super self, the soul and God. Yoga is indeed the path of perfection because it aims toward this most exalted human attainment. All right, so here we have a little bit where this is coming from, this whole book. So these are a series of lectures. It doesn't say where these lectures were given, and those we can find if we went and looked for the lectures, it will tell where they were spoken because it makes a difference, like the time that Srila Prabhupada spoke, the audience that he spoke to, and how he would present this. And so, all right, so I'll go on. In the Bhagavad Gita, we discover four basic varieties of yoga described. Karma yoga refers to the process whereby one performs his work for God without the selfish desire for personal gain. Jnana Yoga is the process of elevation to spiritual consciousness through the cultivation of philosophical knowledge. The Ashtanga Yoga system, of which the modern Hatha Yoga is a watered down version, is a mechanical meditative practice meant to control the mind and senses and focus one's concentration on the Supreme. These three yoga systems culminate in Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of selfless, ecstatic, devotional love of God, Krishna. Lord Krishna himself states in the last verse of chapter 6 of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. All right, so this paragraph here is mentioning how the Bhagavad Gita, it is describing four basic varieties of yoga. And one thing that I find like really amazing and generous of Lord Krishna is that he's not dismissing, like he wants to give every single soul an opportunity to come closer to him, an opportunity to advance. So if one is very attached, like it's not like it's all of a sudden that you must take to bhakti yoga, um, and you must give up everything else, all other processes. But no, he actually goes on in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna explains, he explains these yoga processes. He explains karma yoga. He's telling Arjuna, okay, you can do your work. You are a warrior. So do your service, fight in this battle as a service of, make it karma yoga, make it make it count. Offer that to me, offer that fighting ability to me. And he's saying, okay, you can do your work and you could do it for Krishna without selfish gain and offering the fruits of one's work to the Lord. And then Jnana Yoga, he's saying, okay, if you're like cerebral and everything. You have to analyze it, how it works and why it works, and very much attached to analyzing, taking things apart, understanding, like how Lord Kapila Dev in the third canto, he's explaining to his mother Devahuti all about the about how material nature is working, and Sankhya Yoga. So if you want that, then okay, here's the process of elevation to spiritual consciousness through this philosophical knowledge. Through knowledge, you can come to the right conclusion. And then Astanga Yoga, imagine even Astanga Yoga dealing with the breath, like how Krishna is telling in the sixth chapter how one should sit in a secluded place, stare steadily at the tip of the nose, and to concentrate on the breath and engage in pranayam. Krishna is actually saying, okay, you want to do that? Okay, then do that. He's offering all of it. And it says that's like the modern hatha yoga, what watered down version of it. And then, although throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, he's accepting what wherever somebody is at, accepting their service, that they can offer that, they can offer whatever, because one becomes attached, to a particular type of yoga, like say a Gani. I mean, he'll be a Gani for lifetimes, life after life, like so attached to that process, or Astanga yoga, and the pranayam. But we see like often it's selfishly motivated because it makes me feel good, and so we're thinking that's the criteria, that if it makes me feel good, then it must be spiritual. But then after Krishna is like, accepting this, okay, even given direction how to execute the different processes of yoga, then he culminates, right, in the text 46 of the sixth chapter, the last verse. Yogi nam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmata anam shradhavam bhajate yomam sameyukta matomataha sameyukta yutomataha. That of all yogis, he says, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So he gives again and again, he gives this instruction. He gives this declaration that you can do all of this other processes, but if you really want to connect with me and want to be intimately united with me in yoga, well, this bhakti yoga is the highest of all. So he's telling Arjuna, okay, fight, but fight for me in bhakti yoga. All right, so in the path of perfection, Srila Prabhupada offers a brilliant summary of the methods of bhakti yoga, revealing the universal applicability of this simple but all inclusive form of yoga. He shows how even those who are entangled in the complexity and chaos of modern materialistic life can begin an uncomplicated practice which purifies the mind and puts one in touch with the supreme consciousness. This perhaps was Srila Prabhupada's greatest contribution to our age. Srila Prabhupada was an acknowledged master scholar of India's ancient spiritual culture and of its linguistic foundation, the Sanskrit language. But he was not merely a textual scholar or philosopher or theologian engaged in the manufacture of interesting philosophical or theological notions. Please. He was a true spiritual genius who succeeded in bringing to life. Hold on one. Sorry. All right. He was not merely a textual scholar or a philosopher or theologian. I'm reading that again. Engaged in the manufacture of interesting philosophical or theological notions. So, it's not, Prabhupada was a deep practitioner. And so, not just speaking from, there are many commentators on the Bhagavad Gita who they themselves are not bhaktas, they're not devotees, they're not of all yogis, but just speaking, and on all the Vedas. Like if you go to Loy Bazaar, Rasa Bihari Lal store in Vrindavan, and there's a really nice library up there of books to buy, and I've been in there and seen like hippies coming, and they say I like to buy the Vedas. So they buy a book about the Vedas because they heard of the Vedas. But imagine reading the Vedas. Now, we have the cream of the Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam, but imagine reading Srimad Bhagavatam without the Bhaktivedanta purports. How much we would get lost. There's so many instructions there, and one would be like trying to do these different processes of yoga and the different Payabhyoma sacrifice, and then, but we have the purports where again and again Srila Prabhupada is explaining, but in this age of Kali, there's no other way than chanting the holy name of the Lord. And so that is so efficient that it gives the benefit, of all, like way beyond all of these other kinds of austerities that one had to engage in bygone ages, in Satya Yuga and in Dwapara Yuga, like Treta Yuga, like very, very elaborate, very difficult. But so what would we do without the purport? So people are buying the Vedas, and sometimes again translated by people who are just scholars, theological and scholars, but not themselves practitioners. So Prabhupada, he was a true spiritual genius who succeeded in bringing to life the essence of India's universal spiritual wisdom in a form which is easy for 20th century man to understand and practice. This was the unique genius which inspired the late Prime Minister of India, Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri, to declare openly that the writings of Srila Prabhupada, quote, are a significant contribution to the salvation of mankind. The transforming quality of Srila Prabhupada's writings was also appreciated by sociologist Irwin H. Powell, who commented on Srila Prabhupada's best-selling edition of the Bhagavad Gita, and quote, this transcendental mysticism from the East is now taking root in the countercultures of the West and providing for many a way out of the wilderness of a disintegrating civilization. If truth is what works, there must be a kind of truth in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, since those who follow its teachings display a joyous serenity usually missing in the bleak and strident lives of contemporary people. Jai, the publishers. So we read the introduction, and I'll stop now until next time. I guess chapter 1, we'll begin with chapter 1. So before we conclude, are there any comments or questions? And I'd like to thank you all for for joining this evening from where I guess you are all over the United States, different places. And it's very nice, yeah, to sometimes having a group helps us to stay on track, you can say, like to kind of be committed to continuing the process of reading Srila Prabhupada's books because there's always so much to do in life. We all have busy lives, and so it's very wonderful that you are joining here. And thank you, Hemanga Gopi Mataji, for inviting me. All right, so I guess we can end now if there's no comments or questions.
Dear
Hare
Vaishnavis,
Krishna.
you have any?
Oh,
Yes, please. Yes, Kalindi, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Kamalini. I just wanted to say that just to emphasize what you said about the Bhaktivedanta purports, because it's always said that you can't understand Krishna just by or just by intellectually, that you have to, and you can't even understand the Vedas without an explanation of a Vaishnava. And I always feel that I can't believe we're so fortunate that we have the Vedic literatures and then completely guiding us through and giving us the proper understanding as Prabhupada's purports. So just that we're very fortunate.
Jai, thank you for that. Yeah, it's really like sometimes we take it for granted, but we can always remember, wow, where would I be without the purports? Like how would we really understand how to apply it in our everyday life? Okay, thank you very much. And
Kalindi Prabhu, sorry, a request like we do, because of Vaishnavis, we do a lot of multitasking and we are quite busy, and reading takes the back stage. So if you could give us some tips on how we can be more regular, that'll be very helpful and a blessing to all of us.
are you asking Kalindi?
No, I was asking you.
Oh,
Since,
me. All right.
yes.
And Kalindi, she's a big reader because I have a website and she bought a lot of books from my website of books. But anyway, the main way to do it, to do anything, is regulation. Like it has to be put within our schedule. Otherwise, we'll never do it. Like there has to be a time, like okay, how you all heard of this app that Vaisheshika Prabhu, his group made called Be a Sage, page by
Page by
page.
page.
So there
Yes.
it tells you like every one of Prabhupada's books, how you can download the app page by page. No, Be a Sage, page by page. How long it will take to read each book, depending on there'll be like like let's say Srimad Bhagavatam, the most voluminous of all. So that if you read 42 pages a day, then you could read it in 1 year. Now I know a lot of brahmacharis that do that, but not so many householders have the time to do that, especially if you're working a full-time job and everything. So then maybe you can read 8 pages a day, then in 5 years, you will read the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. So if you read only 2 verses a day, you would read it in 1 year. And like that. But also like I'm not very good at it myself at regularly, but I make sure I don't go to sleep without at least reading something. At like that's my main reading right before I go to sleep. And so at least a page or so if I'm very tired, or a little bit more. And and just and plus I have a reading group where we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam now for the third time, and we read Chaitanya Charitamrita and Krishna book, and we meet Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that's very helpful as well. There's so many reading groups now. I see, like here at
Yes.
our temple in Nugaloka, North Carolina, there's several reading groups where devotees get together and read. Some of them even, can be rather short, even like 15 minutes, especially in the morning when everyone's getting ready to go to school or work, or and like a 15-minute reading. And you'd be surprised how 15 minutes a day really adds up. And so just to set aside a time that I'm going to read, like if you work, you can read at your lunch break, at least something. And then we develop a taste for it, because we see that once we get on our phones, it's easy to read for a half an hour or an hour all the other things, like somehow that becomes easy, and then we lose our taste for transcendental literature. So it takes sometimes it's just a matter of doing it, even if we don't feel like it, or just like how the Srimad Bhagavatam is goes in waves, like there's a lot of narration stories, then you come to like really deep philosophy, and some people really like that even more. But if it's difficult, then you're like, oh boy, this is really like kind of, it really takes mental discretion and concentration. But then you just keep reading through it, and then you come to a part that very much very is very relishable for you, and you find, oh, this is so relishable, and you want to remember it, and all. So you just keep going, even if we don't understand everything, even if we don't have a taste for it, and then we will develop a taste if we just continue.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you so much. Yes.
all
With your
right.
blessings, we hope to continue. Yes.
Well, I'm sure that many on this group read way more than I read, I bet. And yeah, and do have a regular practice of reading. Okay, so thank you very much, and until we meet again, Vanchakalpa Trubhyastar Kripa Sindhu Eva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavedhyo Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Jai
Hare
Hare
Kamalini Prabhu
Krishna.
ki jai.
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 Hare
Thank you
Thank you
so
Krishna.
much,
so much,
Mataji, for
Mataji.
joining. Hare Krishna.
Much Mataji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so
Jai.
much, Mataji. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Okay, I see all the names there. Do you shut it down? Hey,